I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and these are my top 10 stocking stuffer games. They are fun to play for young and old, it's quick to learn the rules, and they actually fit in a stocking. I have all the games listed in the description of the video along with the timestamp if you want to skip to a particular one, and I've also included any of the how to play videos I've created as well. So let's get started. First on the list, we have Funko brand stocking stuffer games. And this could have been its own top 10 list. They have so many different options, but we just selected 5 that seemed like some of the more popular options and tested them out. And we really enjoyed all of them, so I'm going to speak briefly to each one. There was a Frosty the Snowman Follow the Leader game that was the cooperative option of the bunch, which is attractive for Christmas morning. You're just trying to place the cards in order using teamwork, and ages 4 and up can be very successful at this game. Next we had Chip and Dale Christmas Treasures, based on the classic cartoon that I love where Chip and Dale are in the tree and Pluto's trying to find them. And so you're flipping over cards to collect sets and you're trying not to flip over too many Pluto cards. And again, very age appropriate for 5 and up. There's some fun event cards that happen as you play, which kids love. We played the Dr. Seuss Grow Your Heart game, which of the bunch was probably our favorite, although we enjoyed all of them. So if you had to pick just one, this would probably be my choice. This is another one where you're trying to have different sets of cards, but there's some flexibility in what you're going for each round. It's fun, the manner in which you're collecting cards and making sets. It's very flexible, and you can be very successful at this, and I like that. You're going for the most points, but the way in which you do it, nobody's really messing with each other, so it helps keep the peace if you're playing this on a holiday morning. There was the Elf Snowball Showdown, which is all of the fun of a snowball fight, but without throwing anything. You're just playing cards down on each other to symbolize snowball attacks, and then you roll a die to defend and get to play cards to defend. And this one seems like it should be a little bit tougher for kids because you're trying to get people out by having successful snowball attacks against them. But my boys seem to do pretty well with it. They're very competitive, but just because of the amount of luck in the game and because of how quick it was and just the fun theme, they loved it and they just wanted to play it over and over again. And then finally, we tested out National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the Twinkling Lights game, and this was my husband's favorite one, but the kids really enjoyed it as well. So this is one that works really well for kids, but you could absolutely play it with an all-adult audience and have it be fun. And you have goal cards of different lights sequences you're trying to get out there, and you're playing tiles that help you try to get it. So you have, okay, I have a red, yellow, and then purple light sequence, and so I have achieved my card, and that's all you're trying to do for the game. So I love these games because they literally take 1 to 2 minutes to look through the rules and be up and running. The gameplay is really good. They're all simple games, but they're really fun to play, and you want to play them on repeat. So what more could you ask for on a holiday morning? And there are a bunch of other options that all have pretty good ratings. So just pick the theme that you like. There's a Gremlins game, a Cookie Swap, Princess Present Party, Jingle All the Way, Nightmare Before Christmas, and even a Lilo and Stitch version. So such a great choice. Knocked it out of the park. Can't go wrong with any of these. The rest of the games on this list are not holiday themed. I have a different list that I'm coming out with in the next week or two with holiday themed games on it. These are all games that are small, will fit into a stocking, and are bound to be new family favorites that you're going to want to play year-round. First up, we have Push, which is a game in which you are pushing your luck and you're playing out cards into 3 different stacks, and you're trying to collect the most points, and you can't have the same color card or the same number of card on a stack or you go bust, and different people get to collect cards on each turn, so it's fun. Even on somebody else's turn you can get points, but there's also the die we call the Die of Doom, and if you have to roll that, whatever color you roll, you have to get rid of all the cards you've collected that are that color, so it's bad. It's really bad to get that. And we love this game because It's a hit with people who play a lot of games. It's a hit with people who don't play a lot of games. It has a nice player count. So this is one that's been a family favorite. We've brought it to my parents and they've really enjoyed it. I take it to board game camps and just everywhere I've taken it, it has been a hit. So it is sure to be a hit for you as well. Next, we have Bandido, which is a cooperative game option in which you are working together to try to keep the bandit from escaping from prison. You all take turns placing out path cards as he's tunneling out, and you're trying to make them all end in dead ends. So it's so simple, so quick to get up and running, but it's a game that both kids and adults enjoy, and it's one of those ones that's so unique, which is really fun, and you just end up wanting to play it on repeat because it ends up being a little bit addictive. Next up, we have Similo, another great cooperative game in which you, as the clue giver, are trying to help the people guess the correct card out of the 12 you have in front of you by giving them clues with the other cards in your hand. You can place them vertically beside the tableau of cards if it's like the card you're trying to get them to guess, or you put it horizontally if it is not like the card you're trying to get them to guess. Get the animal versions if you're playing this with younger children. The animals are wild animals. It's really fun to combine both of them. We like to do that as well. Kids do better with those. They're more familiar with animals, so they'll have higher success rate. But they have a lot of great other options as well. There's myths, fables, spookies, history, and even a Harry Potter version. So pick your favorite version and you are good to go. Next, we have Five Alive, which is a great alternative to Uno, and it's at the same price point as Uno, especially if you get it at Target. The goal of the game is to stay alive. You have 5 different life cards in front of you, and you're taking turns placing cards out into a central stack, and you lose a life if the number in the stack goes over 21, or if somebody else plays the last card in a round, then everybody else loses a life. This game is fun because it gets really exciting when you get close to 21 points. Kids get so excited about who's gonna go bust, but there's a lot of specialty cards that get used at that point. You can reverse, you can skip, you can play a pass by me card. There's a bomb card when played. Everyone has to play a 0 to defuse the bomb, and if they don't have a 0, they lose a life. There's a shuffle card, so if people have been playing draw 1 or draw 2 cards and they're almost out of cards, you can play your shuffle card and all the cards get mixed back together and everyone has the same amount of cards to go for the rest of the round. So there's just really fun elements that kids really like, and I appreciate as well that you start with 10 cards at the beginning of every round and it just ends when those cards have when somebody's played all of their cards. So unlike Uno, there is a more clear time constraint to a game whenever you play. Next up, we have Don't Llama, which is another great alternative to Uno. In this game, you were trying to not get 40 of the point value, the chips, and you get those by scoring up any of the points you have left at the end of a round of play. You're playing cards numbered from 1 to 6, and Llama. Llama is the magical card that bridges back from 6 back to 1 again. And for a game with no specialty cards, there are some really fun push your luck elements to this game where you'll choose to draw a card in the hopes that someone else won't go out that round, and then you can play the rest of your cards. And if you do that, you get to get rid of one of your point chips. And if you don't have very many, you can get rid of one of the 1 point value chips. Or if you have more, if it's later in the game, you can get rid of, there are 1 point value chips and 10 point value chips. So you could get rid of a 10 point value chip, which means there are some really nice swings in this game. Even if you have a lot of points, you can come back, which is a really nice game feature to have. This works really well for young kids, it works for adults, so it's a really versatile game and it has become a family favorite in our house. Next, we have Cinco Linko, which I consider elevated Connect 4. The goal of the game is to place 5 of your tiles in a row, to link 5 tiles. The name is the game, which is part of the beauty of Cinco Linko because it is so simple, but it is so fun to play. It is incredibly portable. It comes with a carabiner, and you could hook it on a backpack if you really wanted to. This was one of our go-to pool and beach games this past summer because it doesn't matter if the little tiles get messy, but it's so fun and quick to play. In terms of gameplay, it works just as well with 2 players as it does with 3 or 4, which is really fun and unique compared to a lot of games like this. And it's incredibly easy to teach because you just start playing down tiles and people quickly get the idea. But also, no game ends in a draw because if all the tiles get placed out there and nobody has 5 in a row, you have to pick up tiles you've already placed and put them in a different spot until someone achieves 5 tiles in a row. So it's fun, it's quick, it's easy, it's strategic though. So this one just feels like an instant classic. Next up, we have story cubes, which is perhaps more of an experience than a traditional game you might think of. All you do for this is you have 9 different dice that come in the pack that have fun, different images on them. And you use those images when you roll the dice to tell a story. And there are a lot of ideas for things you can do. You can take turns and have one person use one die to tell part of the story, and then another person continue it with another die that's been rolled, or you can have someone tell part of a story with all of the dice, and then they give it to the next person who rolls and continues the story from what they have from there. I really wish I had had these when my younger son was 2 and demanded unique stories at bedtime from me every night. This would have been really great. And what's great about these dice are with 9 different dice and all the different faces on them and the different orders you can put the dice in, there are over 10 million different combinations you can get from the dice. So basically, this is a game with limitless potential. If you don't have any copies of Story Cubes yet, I would probably suggest to just start with the original, but they also have Fantasia-themed mystery, action, Star Wars, Batman, Doctor Who, and Looney Tunes, so pick your favorite theme and you should be good to go. Next, we have Catan Dice, which is all the fun of Settlers of Catan, but in 20 minutes. This is a roll and write in which you are rolling dice with resources on them, and you're using the results of your dice rolls to get the familiar Settlers of Catan things like roads, settlements, cities, and you can even get knights through your dice rolls. And I really like this game because it has a set number of turns. You're just trying to get the most points by the end. And there are 2 sides to the scoring sheet. So there are 2 different types of games you can play that are both pretty simple to pick up and get running, but unique and have different challenges. And this works really well if someone doesn't have the time to play a full game of Settlers. You can play this in 20 minutes. And it works really well at lower player counts. So you can play this solo if you really want to and just go for your own personal best, or you can play it with 2 or 3 players and have a really good, successful, all the fun of Settlers of Catan, but in a different style. And finally, we have Monopoly Deal, which, like Catan Dice, gives you the feel of the original game, but it's short and super fun to play. In this, it's just a card game, so it is portable, it is super cheap, and it's very popular, so it's easy to find this game in a lot of locations. The goal is you're trying to be the first to have 3 different monopolies placed down in front of you in order to win the game. And it still has some of the same fun elements of regular Monopoly. You're playing down property cards, you have money cards, you can collect rent, but there are fun extra cards like It's My Birthday, where everybody has to give you money, or Just Say No. So if somebody plays a swap or steal property card on you, you can just say no to that and keep your precious properties for the end of the game. And I really like this game because it is not any nicer than standard Monopoly. People are stealing things from you, people are taking all of your money and then trying to get your properties. But there's a little more strategy going on. It feels like you have a little bit more control. And because it is so fast, Even if you lose a game, it's very easy to say, oh, you got me that time. Let's deal out another one because we certainly have time for another 15 or 20-minute game of Monopoly Deal. So that's it for my top 10 stocking stuffers. What better way to start Christmas than by opening up a new game, playing it together, and having some magical Christmas memories just to start off the day, and that is guaranteed if you pick any of these games. So check them out. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time from Game Like a Mother.